Welcome to my channel, Worldwise. Exposing the hidden dangers in modern air travel. This is a story you need to hear. On the evening of January 5, 2024, Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 lifted off from Portland, Oregon, its destination set for sunny California. The flight was routine at first, with passengers settling in, chatting quietly, and flight attendants preparing for the journey ahead. But just minutes after takeoff, as the jet climbed into the night sky, disaster struck without warning, shattering the calm. At 16,000 feet, a panel where an emergency exit would normally be suddenly blew out, violently ripping open a gaping hole in the side of the fuselage. The deafening roar of rushing air filled the cabin and the temperature plummeted instantly. Chaos erupted in the cabin. Passengers screamed as the wind howled, loose objects were sucked out into the night, and oxygen masks dropped from overhead panels. People scrambled to put them on, clinging to their seats, desperately trying to stay calm and survive the terrifying ordeal. In the cockpit, the flight crew sprang into action. The pilots immediately initiated an emergency descent, expertly guiding the crippled jet back toward Portland. Flight attendants moved quickly, helping passengers with masks, and keeping everyone as safe as possible during the rapid descent. Against all odds, everyone on board survived. The crew's training and quick thinking saved lives, and fate played a role too. No one was seated directly beside the blown-out panel, which could have been fatal. As shaken passengers finally stepped off the plane and embraced loved ones, a haunting question lingered in the air. How could a brand-new Boeing jet, fresh from the factory, suffer such a catastrophic failure in mid-air? The world wanted answers. To grasp the danger, you need to understand cabin pressurization. At cruising altitude, the air is too thin to breathe, so planes are sealed and pressurized to keep passengers alive. When the door plug blew out, explosive decompression followed. Air, heat, and oxygen vanished in seconds. Unsecured objects and even people risked being sucked out. Hypoxia set in fast, threatening unconsciousness or death. Oxygen masks bought precious minutes as pilots dove to safer altitudes. The incident was a stark reminder. The only thing separating passengers from a deadly environment is a thin metal shell. When that fails, survival depends on engineering and luck. The NTSB's investigation quickly zeroed in on the missing door plug bolts. 4 critical bolts meant to secure the panel were never installed, an error traced back to Boeing's Renton assembly plant. The plug had been removed for repairs, but when reinstalled, no paperwork or inspection records existed. Pandemic-era staff shortages and production pressure led to shortcuts and lapses in oversight. The missing bolts weren't just a mistake, they revealed a culture where safety checks and documentation had broken down. In aviation, precision and accountability are non-negotiable. Here, both failed. The result? A catastrophic breach in the sky. Boeing's quality assurance systems had failed at every level. The Alaska Airlines blowout echoed Boeing's darkest chapter, the 737 MAX crashes. In 2018 and 2019, Lion Air and Ethiopian Airlines flights crashed within months, killing 346 people. Both planes were new, both nosedived uncontrollably, and both disasters pointed to a design flaw. The 737 MAX fleet was grounded worldwide, costing Boeing billions and shattering its reputation. Investigations revealed a company that had put profit and speed ahead of safety. The root cause? A hidden software system, and a culture that let critical risks go unchecked. The tragedies exposed a deep rot inside one of America's most storied manufacturers. The culprit behind the tragedy was MCAS, a newly introduced flight control system that was supposed to make the Boeing 737 MAX safer by automatically correcting the aircraft's tendency to pitch up in certain flight conditions. This software was quietly added to the plane's design, intended to act in the background, unnoticed by pilots during normal operations. But MCAS had a critical flaw. It relied on data from just a single angle of attack sensor. If that sensor malfunctioned or gave incorrect readings, MCAS could repeatedly force the plane's nose downward, all without the pilot's knowledge or ability to easily override the system. There were no clear warnings or training for pilots about this hidden automation. In both tragic crashes, a faulty sensor triggered MCAS, causing the planes to enter uncontrollable fatal dives. The pilots, unaware of the software's existence and fighting for control, were left battling an invisible adversary that kept pushing the nose down despite their desperate efforts to save their passengers and crew. Boeing had deliberately concealed the presence and function of MCAS from airlines and pilots, hoping to avoid the expense and delays of additional pilot training. This decision was made to keep the MAX competitive and appealing to customers, but it left crews dangerously unprepared. After the crashes, the entire 737 MAX fleet was grounded worldwide for 20 months. During this time, Boeing was forced to redesign the MCAS software, add more robust safety features, and overhaul pilot training programs to ensure that such a disaster could never happen again. The MCAS saga became a sobering case study in how seemingly minor shortcuts in software design and corporate decision-making can have catastrophic consequences, affecting hundreds of lives and shaking trust in aviation safety. Ultimately, it was a profound failure of engineering, transparency, and corporate ethics. A reminder that in aviation, every detail matters, and the cost of neglect can be measured in lives lost. Boeing's troubles trace back to its 1997 merger with McDonnell Douglas. The company shifted from an engineering-driven culture to one obsessed with cost-cutting and shareholder value. Instead of designing a new jet, Boeing updated the aging 737 to compete with Airbus, leading to compromises like MCAS. Production targets soared, quality control slipped, and workers faced pressure to overlook defects. The relentless focus on speed and profit eroded Boeing's legendary safety standards. The 737 MAX disasters were the tragic result of this cultural drift. When financial metrics trump engineering, safety pays the price. Inside Boeing's sprawling factories, whispers of concern echoed through the assembly lines. For years, whistleblowers bravely raised alarms about declining quality standards and mounting pressure to meet deadlines at any cost. Many employees described a culture that discouraged speaking up, where safety concerns were often brushed aside or met with hostility from management. John Barnett, a veteran quality manager with decades of experience, became a symbol of this struggle when he exposed dangerous shortcuts and systemic issues that put lives at risk. Tragically, Barnett was later found dead, while his whistleblower case was still ongoing, casting a shadow over Boeing's internal culture. The Alaska Airlines door plug incident and the devastating MAX crashes forced regulators to take unprecedented action. Production was capped, oversight was ramped up, and Boeing's CEO was ultimately ousted in a bid to restore accountability. Public trust in Boeing has plummeted, with passengers and airlines alike questioning the safety of its planes and the integrity of its leadership. Every new flaw or incident now makes international headlines, fueling skepticism and putting immense pressure on the company to change. Experts agree that Boeing's problems run deeper than technical fixes. What's needed is a fundamental transformation of its corporate culture. The company must foster an environment where safety is truly prioritized and where every worker feels empowered to raise concerns without fear of retaliation. Safety must always come before speed or profit, with rigorous checks and open communication at every level of the organization. Only by empowering workers to speak up and act on safety issues can Boeing hope to rebuild its reputation and regain the trust of the flying public. Rebuilding trust will require years of consistent, transparent commitment to quality, with every employee playing a role in the company's recovery. In aviation, there's no substitute for a culture of safety, because every life in the sky depends on it. My next video is up. Watching now.